Hello fellow colorists, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jody and today we are going to take a look at some use of the Zig Brushables and the Zig Clean Color. I did have a viewer request me color on screen with the Zig Clean Color real brush pens, so I thought that I would take the opportunity to make this video. While I was breaking out the Zig items, I recalled that in my Stationery Pal box, which is where I bought these, I also had a bunch of confetti packaging, so I had saved those, so we are going to use this as a background. I also pulled out my box number 1 Sarah Renee Clark color cube, and I'm going to use the palette 42. So those are the items that I'm going to use on my page. Now to show you the page that I have decided to use, and it is going to be from Small Victories. Small Victories has very pretty smooth paper, and it is double-sided, so I do want to use water-based markers or colored pencils or gel pens in here. So I thought it would be a good, and also these little areas are very small and very tight, so a fine tip, brush tip, or the fine bristles on the Zig Clean Color really are advantageous when you have little bitty spaces like that. So if that is of interest to you, then go grab a cup of tea and let's get coloring. So let's start off with why I picked color cube number 42, and really I picked it because I wanted to have some yellow for the bee, and I also wanted to have some pink and green for all the flowers that are on here. And then I decided, okay, well, I also need some colors for the snail, and so this yellow and orange I thought would go good, and then blue, maybe a little bit for the background and also on the actual items. So it just kind of lent for a overall spring color palette as well, and I am really hoping spring comes soon. We are actually having a little bit of snow today, but we're just going to ignore that and color happy warm things. So that is the color cube. Now I've decided to use both the Brushables and the Zig Clean Color because both of them are water-based and both of them have a pretty fine tip. The Zig Clean Color is extremely fine, and this has a stiff brush tip, so it's not overly flexible, and that is actually good when you're dealing with small areas. So let's just start coloring. I may actually lower the camera down a little bit so that we're focused in on one of the items at a time. So let me just adjust the camera. So we're going to start off by looking at the whole page and trying to kind of place the colors from the color cube card around, so that I am kind of making sure that I am keeping the page as balanced as possible. So I'll put the color cubes here, or the colors there. Now I'm going to have yellow and orange around here for sure. I've got a lot of flowers, so I'm kind of reserving those for the pink and the leaves for green. So that leaves me with what color to make this guy. And if I have the yellow and orange down at the bottom, then it's okay, I think, to also have yellow and orange here. That I think would be fine. So yeah, I think that that's what I'm going to do, and I may end up putting some either pink, or actually if we had some blue flowers here with pink behind as kind of like the wing color, that might look really pretty as well. Okay, so with that kind of color mapping in mind, let's get started. And since we're talking about the bee, let's zoom in a little bit and we will start on the bee. So I'm gonna have a scratch piece of paper beside me to just swatch out the colors. We'll do that together. Zoom you out a little bit. So this is light blue, which is 36. This is cobalt blue, which is 31. Then we have pale green. I have the 60 set. I know that there is a lot more, but so far I've been okay with this set. This color is called light green. Okay, so those are the Zig Clean ones. So we're just going to call these clean. And then this is, so the name on this is baby pink. So I'm just going to do an L and a D for light and dark. So this is the light one. And this is the dark. I do have a, and these are the brushables. Okay, then this is the yellow, and it's called butter. So this is the light. This is the dark. And then this one is actually called apricot. And then the fourth one is called pure orange. So when I take a look at my color cubes, colors on here, this one is really not what I want, so I'm going to put an X because I don't actually want to use that color, but the rest of the colors kind of fit in with my whole scheme. So this is the outlier color that if I really needed a darker color, I could definitely use it, but I'm going off of the pure colors for the most part, so that is what the colors are that I selected. So I'm going to keep this to the side so I know when I'm grabbing my colors which one I want to use. Now I did like the idea of having the pink, so I'm going to go and get the light pink, and I'm going to do the back of the wings first so that it's done, and it's the lightest color, so if I go over anything else by mistake, it'll actually, when I do color the main item, hopefully that'll be covered. So I hope everybody's having a good week. I hope that thank you all for helping me reach my goal of 3,000 subscribers, and there is a draw for a $30 gift card at Stationery Pal, and it's $30 US, and you can also use my discount code of JI Colourist and save, and it's, I believe, 16% that you're saving. I'll put the what you're saving on screen along with the discount code. I thought I would use Stationery Pal this time. It was actually a suggestion from one of my subscribers, and I thought it was good because we have already done an Etsy draw, and we've also done in the past we've done Amazon gift cards, so I like to spread it around, and the fact that you can save a bit of money as well by using my discount code works out for everybody. So I hope that works, and there are definitely coloring supplies on there as well as stationery, and I know a lot of us use stationery in our coloring, so I thought it was a good mix. The draw is obviously open to anybody worldwide. This is a worldwide channel, and I'm happy to have everyone participate. And even if you're not a subscriber but you are a loyal viewer, please enter the draw. I know some people don't like to hit subscribe, but they do watch my channel regularly. Everybody is welcome. This is just a very light pink, as you can see, but since this is a wings and the wings are transparent, I thought the light pink was actually kind of a nice idea. but I might go and use the darker pink on this here. When you're working in smaller areas, I do not find water-based markers overly streaky. Comment down below if you have found a medium that you really like to use in the Johanna Basford Small Victories book. I'd love to know what you're doing. Okay, so let's go, and we're gonna start with the Zig. Now, these are actual brush bristles that spread, so you don't want to put a lot of pressure on this because you will spread out the bristles. So light hand, which is really nice, and it gets into areas very easily, and they're very flexible because they are bristles, so it makes coloring with them a real ease on my hand, very much like a paintbrush. I'll do an overall layer, and then I'll come back in and do some more shading, but I'm going to let that dry. It does dry quickly, but with any kind of water-based medium, they don't generally bleed through the paper. However, if you keep applying while your paper is wet, then yes, it is still going to have the possibility and the likelihood of bleeding. So put a layer down and let it dry. Now this is my darker color, so this is number 31. I'm just going to put a little bit on the edge, and then I'm going to come back with the lighter color and just blend that out a bit. At the end, we'll look onto the back page to see if any bled through, but it should be fine. Okay, well, this is dry already, so it doesn't take long. And so that just gives it a little bit more definition. Because this is not watercolor paper, I wouldn't typically use water. I try and blend with lighter and darker colors of the Zig. And you don't need a lot. These Zig Clean Color, I'm not sure how about the Brushables because I just got them, but these Clean Color ones have lasted me so far a couple of years, and I've barely dented, seems like. Okay. Now I can come in with a gel pen later, or I could also come in with the, let's see, I think I want the apricot one, so that's this one, and I want the light color. What that is going to look like. I'll do the rest similar flowers on my own, and I'll be right back when those are done. Okay, we're going to move down the bee a little bit, and I'm going to work on his body part. So I'm going to be using the Zig Brushables, and I'm going to use the one called Butter and the one called Apricot. We also have one called the Pure Orange, so I am going to also bring that in. I have decided to go and do the darker color, then a lighter brown band, then a darker band, and then a lighter band. So I'm going to start with the darker on the bottom, and I am going to be using the orange for the darker color because that is my darkest color on my color palette here. My darkest color is going to be this light on the Pure Orange, and then I've got the two colors on the Apricot. We'll start off, and I'm going to do the whole thing, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to see how that looks. So I think that'll be okay. So on these, you can tell even when the caps are off, this has a darker and this is lighter. So I am still able to see what I'm doing and just flip it. And then flip it again. So blending while it's wet, but trying not to overblend because I don't want it to seep through the paper. Now this bottom part here, so I'll continue that on those ones. This bottom part I'm going to be using this color, so going to start with all of it, and then I'm gonna come in and do the lower part, and then I'm gonna come in with this darker one here. And then along this edge here, I'm gonna do the darker. So let's show you that one more time for here. So I think that blends really nicely together. I will continue on and do those ones, and then we will do some yellow. I'm just working on the second orange area before we move to the, and just wanted to point out that if you do color most of the area and then come back in, so you're kind of blending wet on wet. So the area where I just want it to be solid orange and not blended, I'm not putting any yellow on that. I'm just putting in the orange. But then when I want to blend it, I'm making sure that the page already has some pigment on it before putting the next one on. So I'm already bringing wet and wet, and then I'm mixing it right away. If you're having problems blending, just takes a little bit of practice. And it seems to be a fairly seamless blend, and I'm happy with that result. So I'll be right back when the second row is done. Okay, I'm getting ready to do the very last line before this. Now this line here, or this band on the belly, is going to be yellow. So I want to kind of have a very defined edge. So I'm going to cap off my lightest color so that I don't accidentally use it. And I'm going to go ahead and use, actually I'm going to go grab my darkest, or my lightest on the darkest orange, if that makes sense. And I'm going to do a band of row of that. This will help the difference between the three bands on the belly and make the yellow stand out. And if that is a little bit too bright, I can come in and just put this color on top. And this line here, if this ends up not being dark enough, I can either come in with a gel pen, or I could actually pull out my very dark one that I had originally said no to. That can always be kind of in reserve if there's something that needs to really stand out. So let's go on. We're going to do the yellow, and we've got two shades, two ends. So I'll take both caps off, and we'll just do a couple here. I'm going to see how they look. See if there's much difference. This is my darkest yellow, which is not super dark, but I'm going to put that down here. So I'm ending with that. A little bit harder to see the yellow, so we'll do a little bit less blending because I want there to be some definite areas where it's lighter and darker. I'll go ahead and finish this off, and then we're gonna have to wait for the yellow to dry to really see if it's giving me the effect that I want. And if it isn't, then we'll have to, you know, we can always come in with a gold gel pen or something to outline the scales, or they're not scales, but the little design, the scalloped design here. Okay, this is how this looked. I'm going to go and do this top area. I'm going to bring in my lightest apricot and put that in here. So I think that would look good. And again, we'll use this color to do the base, but we'll do the rest. So this is my darkest yellow. Nope, that was opposite. Whoops. Okay, well, this whole top section will be the darkest yellow. Okay, this is the darkest yellow. And then this is the light. Very hard to see, that's for sure. And the lights probably are making it a little bit washed out from my eyesight as well. Put on the proper caps. The caps do match here, so that part is good. I don't feel worried about taking all the caps off at once. When you use the color cubes, you can decide to add black or white apparently, but I typically don't do that. I typically stick to the colors that they actually give us. So okay, this area here, I'm going to zoom you back in. Sorry, I'm going to take my lightest pink and do the background, and that might also look really nice with a little bit of stickles here or some extreme Mod Podge glitter. Now for the rest of this area here, I'm going to do the similar that we did here. So that is using the apricot. For the top area here, I'm going to use my darkest color. And then I'm going to use this color. Now let's zoom down and take a look at how our bee is looking, and decide if I need to bring in deepen up any of the colors that are there. Deepen up this a little bit. So I'm using the same colors, just going over the second time. And for the yellow, I think I'm going to do the same. Now this is totally dried, so going over the second time should not bleed through. I'm just going to be strategic in where I darken the colors. I'm going to use some black gloss or glaze for the eyes, so I'll do that last. I could have also done it for the antennas, but I'm fine with leaving them pink. All right, let's go ahead and do a little bit of work on the wings so you can see how those are gonna turn out. Now, I obviously have a lot of leaves So we're going to be, and the leaves are super tiny, so it's a good job we are using the Zig Clean Colors. And I'm going to use the lightest one, which is pale green. And I'm going to just go ahead and color. And I'm going to do the really tiny leaves, the lightest color. And it's very quick and easy to do with such a tiny area. The tiny bristles, just not a problem getting into. And you're not putting any pressure, like I mentioned before. So it's very easy on the hands. Probably gripping the pen is probably my most strenuous, and that's just because of the way I grip my pens. Now we do have other leaves right beside it, so let's do those, and we'll do those in my second color, which is light green, and it's just a little bit darker. If you don't have these, you could use a fine liner. That would be the best, because certainly, or a super sharp pencil, or a gel pen perhaps. But a gel pen I find would smear a little bit more, at least with my hand-eye coordination. So whatever I do to this side, I will do the exact same to this side. So I'll leave, we'll just work on this one wing together. Now I'm going to also do this wing, or sorry, not wing, these leaves. For the leaves that are so tiny, I'm not going to try blending. I'm going to leave them all the same color. We will leave the blending to leaves that are a little bit larger. Make sure I've got all of those leaves done. There is a tiny little thing right here, so I'll put that there. Okay, let's tackle the bigger leaves. And with the bigger leaves, I am going to do some blending. So I'm going to take both caps off of my, and I'm going to have the darker color on the bottom of the leaf, and then I'm going to just drag it up a little bit to make sure there's no line. And as simple as that. I do find if you've been blending with your lighter color, you may want to just brush it off a little bit if you're going blending back and forth, because there is a little bit left on the tip. This time I'm going to start and I'm blending up. So that is also a way you can blend. So if that's, so again, I'm starting with my darker color, and then I'm not going all the way to the end, but I am kind of picking up some of it and dragging it upwards, similar to how you would blend with ink tints. So that's one way of doing it, and that gives you a nice graduated or gradient. The other way is to start lighter and go down, and then put your darker color on the bottom again, and then kind of mix the two together. I do think that it takes more mixing when you start light and bring down. So sometimes I am left with a more of a harsh line. So I do like going from dark to light, because I find that moves the darker pigment a little more naturally, but it's totally up to you. So that is how I'm going to do the leaves, and I will do the other side and be right back. Okay, there are just a couple of more things left to do on this bee. I thought I would zoom you back out just a little bit so you could see the whole bee, the way it's looking, and our color choices right here. So far we have used the yellow, the orange, the blue, and the green and a little bit of the pink. So let's go ahead and use some more pink, and we'll use a bit of the pink on some of the tiny flowers, the bigger flowers. And then we've got these two flowers right here that, let's zoom in now, that look a little bit like daisies. So I'm going to do those yellow, I think, and they are also close to the body, so I think that that would be good. And also these tiny little flowers over here, and these ones right here, I think I'll also do those in yellow. So I'm going to use the this color here, so it's more of the orange yellow, just because these are so small. And we also need to bring in the yellow here, and I still need to do the shading on these flowers over here. Just remember to always do the same to both sides of the wings because they are symmetrical. And you know me, I can't do anything odd. Since we still have the yellow out, let's do these flowers here. So this is my darker yellow, and I'm going to use I'm actually going to just do a bit of shading along the edge there. Okay, so that takes care of that. Let's do this flower here. We're gonna do pink, obviously, and the pink that I have to work with is one pink. So we've got a light and a dark, although they are both quite light. So I'm going to do an overall light petal and see how that looks, and then I'm going to come in with the darker, and then I'm going to shade. And then for this area right here, I'm going to do the dark. And so that's the little underneath of the petal, because I figure that would be darker. It would be darker in the center as well. So again, it's lighter overall, and then just a little bit darker around the edge there, and then up these illustrator marks, and then blend it out a little bit. It is nice to use water-based markers. It goes so much quicker than colored pencil. I am a colored pencil preference, but I do enjoy this kind of coloring. I find it quite relaxing. And like I said, small areas, you don't get a lot of streaks. And that is finished, that flower. I will, like I said, come back and do the black glaze, but we will let that dry for now. Now this flower here is looking not quite the same, but very similar to this one. So I'm going to do those the same. And then I will do this one pink as well. This time I'm going to start with my darker pink. And then for the center, this is the lighter pink. I'm going to actually go look at my color cube here again, and I'm going to grab a pink. I'm going to grab a couple of different pink gel pens, and going to do them right beside. So this is a Jelly Roll Metallic, and that's that one. And then this is a Dollar Tree pink glitter pen. I also have two different Jelly Roll Stardust. And this one is 721. That's also pink. and this one is 720. I think I'm going to go with the darker pink. So this one here. Okay, and I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to put that there. So I'm going to forego the black glaze pen there, and I'm also going to put it here. And I'm going to do some dots. So that is how that flower is going to look. And I might actually bring it over here, and instead of doing black, because then only black is right there, I'm going to see how it looks here. We'll do that, because then we're not adding a bunch of other colors outside. Kind of can't help but put black on the eyeballs, but we can do these pink. Okay, that's pretty. Okay, I will do this flower next. So that was the darker pink we used. And then we had lighter pink in the center. So this is the Jelly Roll Stardust. I find the Jelly Roll Stardust don't soak through the paper and ghost on the other side, but I do find that these ones, the Moonlight, do. So I have decided to only use the Moonlight ones on single-sided pages. All right, that is how our bee is going to look. I'll do the same side over here and be right back with the finished bee. Okay, looking at how much we've accomplished today, which is still quite a bit. This whole bee is done, and we again used color palette number 42, and this is how our bee is looking. At the very end, after this is done as well, I may come back in with a little bit of gold gel pen or something to put a few little sparkles on the page other than just the pink sparkles that are there. But for now, we're going to leave it, and I am going to actually break this video up into 2 parts just so that it's not so long and hard also for me to upload. So this will be part 1 of 2 parts. The second part will be the snail, and we'll also do the background, which will involve me using the confetti that was the packaging in the Stationery Pal boxes that I received. All right, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you break out your watercolor pens and use them in this book. If you have a certain medium that you are using in this book with a lot of success, drop that comment down below, because I'm always happy to read and learn from other colorists what's working for you. And so that's it for today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you have a creative and colorful week, and I will see you in the next video for part 2. Okay, bye-bye.